Hello and welcome back to Criptonauta. Today I'm going to do an English video, an English session for the English community because I have been required for some people that would be quite good to have some English video. Okay, so I will try my best with my bad English. I will try to do my best for it, and from time to time I will do some English videos for the English community. And basically, I'm doing that video because I think that this is an important one, and I will not do for the regular market updates. But this is a special, let's say, video because the other day I was studying the market cycles of Bitcoin for the last, from the beginning, and I found something interesting that maybe is something that no one is saying or no one is looking at because we all want Bitcoin goes to the moon. Okay, but I found something quite interesting and I want to share it. It doesn't mean that it will be true, or it doesn't mean that this is a plan to follow and so on, but it's something that is there and is mathematically expressed. And that's why I'm showing that, okay? So let's talk about the cycles. Bitcoin, if we look at the chart from the beginning, I'm using the Brave New Coin Liquid Index for that. And if we look the chart from the beginning, we have seen that we have had several cycles. Okay, for me, we have had 1, 2, 3, and 4 cycles. Okay, I'm using the Heikin-Ashi candles in order to to pull out the noise and try to see the things on the way they are. So for me, we have had like 1, 2, 3, and now 4 cycles. Okay, now if that is the end of that cycle that we don't know, maybe we can have something like this to continue. And most of the people, even me of course, once this goes, of course, more or less to that levels or more or whatever. Okay, but basically, what all of the models that are created for Bitcoin says that we will create a new higher uh, high. Okay, so we created higher high here, another here, another here. Well, sorry, and another here. Okay, but looking at the chart on a very easy way, we can see that seems that we are losing steam, seems that we are losing power. You will see some charts drawing a line, something like this. Okay, but if you see, we haven't arrived here. Okay, that would be the 100k zone more or less. But maybe if that's the top, we should have to draw something more like that, or more like that. Oops. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, but the fact is that seems that we are losing power creating new tops. Okay, so the other day what I made is, okay, I'm gonna go to analyze the percentage for every cycle, and I did that. So basically, I have the homework done, and I will explain you that chart. So in the first cycle, we pumped like hell, like 306k percent, okay, before the first drop. In the second cycle, we pumped like 61k more or less percentage. In the third, we pumped like 12k percentage, okay, and in the fourth, if that's the end, that we don't know, so what they have done is to create different scenarios. Okay, let's assume that this is the end of the cycle. If that's the case, we have, I'm gonna hide the other because I don't want you to see this yet, but if that's the height, so we pump it like 2k percentage. So when I was looking at that percentage, I was thinking, okay, do these numbers has any relation between them in order to create that chart? because this is a very perfect chart. If you see that chart compared with gold, with SPI, or with other charts, this is very, very, very perfect. And I was doing some calculations, and I was doing calculations to find if we have a ratio, a pumping ratio between cycles, okay? And what I did is to did this. So basically what I did is, in the cycle 1, we pumped that percentage. In the cycle 2, we pumped that. In the cycle 3, cycle 3 that, and in the 4th, we did that, okay? So what I did is to search for a ratio between cycles. So if I divide the percentage that cycle divided by that cycle, what I have is a ratio of 5. Then if I take and I divide the cycle 2 between the 3, I have a ratio of 5. That was surprising to me. I thought, oh, we have the same ratio between 2 cycles. This is interesting. So then what I did is to divide the 3rd cycle for the 4th, assuming that we have topped. Okay, so that's the assumption of the top of the market. If we do that, what we have found is that we have a 6 ratio. What does that mean? It means that this market was 5 times higher than that one. This market was 5 times higher than that one. And this market was 6 times higher than that one. For me, this is a very accurate ratio. This is a very accurate number. It's not a random number. It's it's something that we can measure, and we can assume that there is some truth behind. Okay, if we assume that this is the ratio, which is because it's mathematically proven, we can project a ratio for the next cycle. Okay, and then if we have an average ratio of 5.35, let's assume that in the next cycle, if that's the end, I repeat this in eternum, if that's the end, let's assume that the next cycle we could have a pump of 378%. So that's quite interesting, because that's totally against of what the major of the people are looking for the future of Bitcoin. Okay, because if we put this into the chart, let's put it. Okay, let's say we drop another 44% more or less, as we did in each cycle. Then from the bottom to the top, that 378% would create a lower high. Okay, what does it mean? It means that we would create something like this. No, I'm going to put here. So imagine that we do this. Now I'm going to do it with a line that I have. If that's true, we could create something like that, which is totally different of what we have seen in most of the plans and projections, future projections for Bitcoin, and so on and so forth. So is that possible? Well, it's what we had on the previous cycle. So it's something to have in mind. So it's something that I will be, of course, looking for the next cycle if happen. But let's see that some people are saying that we are still in the bull market and we haven't achieved the top of the market. Okay, let's do that scenario as well. Okay, so I'm gonna hide this one, and let's look at the Excel file, and let's do a projection based on a 5 ratio. It means, so as that cycle, so cycle 3 was 6 times that cycle. Why? Because maybe let's assume that we haven't reached the bottom of that cycle and we continue up. If we continue up in assumption of a 5 ratio, okay, that was this, it's this, it means that the next cycle, the cycle 4 that supposedly is not finished, would achieve a 2437%. Okay, so it means, let's put it this, it means that this, imagine that would be a 5x ratio as we had in the previous cycles. So that was 5x, 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 and that would be proportionally 5x from that one. It's not that far from where we are. Okay, so imagine that we arrive here. That would be the exact level to go from here. Okay, but okay, let's assume that this is the future scenario, and we will do a drop or whatever, and we will continue to the next step. The 5 is not that far. It's not the 100k that everybody's saying. It's not the moon that everybody's saying. So that has some sense to me, very, very sense to me, mathematically speaking. Okay? If that's the case, let's imagine that we arrive here, we do this, and we arrive to that point. What will happen to the next cycle? Well, what will happen is we will imagine that we have the drop from 8 to 84% more or less, as we did on the previous. So the next cycle, the cycle 5, based on that 5 ratio, would be like 487% up. It's not that much. It's not that much. If we put it here in the charts, let's imagine that the red line was the R5 projection. Okay, it means that the next cycle, let's move this here now. So let's imagine that this was here, put here this, sorry, something like this. And the next market, even doing that projection, going higher than where we are, the next top in the next cycle, based on that, won't be higher than the previous one. So based on that, that assumption, we will not create a higher high on the next cycle. It's quite interesting. I know that this can be controversial. Some people will hate me for saying that and blah, blah, blah. And of course, I also want Bitcoin going to the moon. I'm the first one that wants Bitcoin moon. But we have to be, sometimes we have to be objective. We don't want to see the charts based on what we want. We have to see the charts based on what we see. Does it mean that if that happens, does it mean that Bitcoins will never go higher? No. It can be a kind of microcycle. Let's imagine, I'm gonna delete it right now. Let's imagine that this is like a microcycle. We do this, and then we do this, and then we can continue it. But maybe we need to cool down a bit more. I have drawn this, but this can be here, can be here, can be, I don't know, I have no idea. Okay, but this could be like a macrocycle to then continue up. If Bitcoins, of course, continue its existence on the next 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, so that's something that I was pretty surprised to calculate. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, maybe it's shit and it doesn't work. Who knows? We will know in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So, but it's something that I want to share, and that's all what I want to say. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button, and if you want to enjoy our community, you can join clicking on the link that you have in the description below on the YouTube. Thank you very much, and bye. See you in the next video.